Hey everybody, so welcome, and I am going to talk about Wisdom Wednesday with the Chakra Wisdom cards and a couple things that are going on. Just to let you know, a lot of people have been messaging me and they go, oh my gosh, I pulled 3 reverse cards, what do I do? Or what does this card, and this card mean? Well, the problem is that by the time I start telling you what those cards mean, I'm doing a reading, right? So what I wanted to do today was give you some more thoughts, and I know I've been talking about this a lot on some of these videos, but give you some more thoughts about ways to look at the Chakra Wisdom cards as reversals. So the first thing that you need to know is that the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards, each of these cards, every card we're looking at here, let me grab them, sorry. Every card we're looking at here, whether it be the gratitude card or whether it be the grief card or guilt, excuse me. And as we look at these various cards, one of the things that I want to say is that, do you know what the fable means? And the reason I say that is because you see, these cards are not like other cards. They're not like, cards that just randomly say guilt. And then at the, if it's reversed, the guilt reversed means X. What happened with these cards is because they came to me through a near-death experience, and this is over 30 years ago now, just so you know, and I had lots of angels coming to me and telling me stories, which, to be honest, I thought were kind of stupid at the time. And every single one of them, were based on fable. Hi, babe. It's my dog. And this one's impartiality. So you get the idea that what's happening here is these cards are actually based on the key word from the original fable. So for example, this one is called Charmaine Chartreuse. That's the actual name of the fable. And so when we look at a card like Persevere, can't see it that well, maybe if I pull that, there you go, a card like Persevere, this is the carrot colored cloak, and the actual story of the cloak and the woman with the cloak is what really makes the difference with these cards. So when people say to me, oh, what does a reversal mean? It makes challenging with this if you don't know what the fable is. So to give you that idea, the original fables do not come with the cards and the small card book. And people are like, why did you do that? Well, actually, it was a decision by my publisher, because you see, when we put the card book together with the cards, if we gave you too much information, it's overwhelming. And what the basic necessity was, we have the little legend and then some key points about each card, so that when you're looking at a card, you're looking at the overall legend, what the basic idea of the fable is. Now, what do you think is the difference between a abbreviated fable, 100 words, I think we were limited to 100 words to describe a fable that goes on for 300 to 500. Well, what happens is you're only going to get the overview of the story. But when you actually read the fable, it takes on an entirely different nuance. So one of the things that happens with this is the Chakra Wisdom Oracle Toolkit, which is just a book by itself, is the only place you'll find the full fable. And it's called the 52-Week Journey with the Lost Fables. Now, before you say, oh, she's just selling another book. No, what I'm trying to tell you is that in order to reverse a card, you have to know what it means right side up. Think about that for a minute. So we're not looking at these cards as, oh, gratitude. So reverse gratitude would mean I'm not grateful, right? So let's take this card. Let's take gratitude and really dive into it and look at it. Well, if we look at the gratitude card and we look at the actual story, the fable is about this woman in red and this woman, the pregnant woman, Lucy, and this is Lucy's best friend, the woman in red. And it's a story. The fable is this woman is writing a letter to Lucy's unborn child. And the actual fable is a letter that says, "Dear baby." And it talks all about who Lucy is to her friend, and the example Lucy has set and who she is. So what begins to happen here is you see that there's actually 3 characters in this story. And you start to look at which character are you playing. Now, instead of saying, a reversal would be a block, what if a reversal is this woman is writing a letter of gratitude. What if the reversal is an inability to be in touch with your feelings? You see, we would look at the fable and what actually is happening in the fable in order to reverse it. And it can even be, what if we look at the character of Lucy, who is actually getting the letter for her future child? Will Lucy ever give the letter to her child? So in that sense, does the letter, I've got two dogs, Gavin, get over here. They're fighting over food. So what we start to look at is that when a card is reversed, okay, when we reverse a Chakra Wisdom card, we actually have to look at the nuances in the fable in order to really interpret it for you. In other words, to make it more personal. Now, if you just want to look at gratitude and reversal as not gratitude, one of the ways you can do that actually is to take the word gratitude, go to the thesaurus, and look up the antonyms. What opposes exposes. So if we look at the opposite of gratitude, then we can start to say, oh, those might be the feelings that are really going on. And even if you're creating a resistance to a card, if you're like looking at a card going, really? Faith? Really? Then you might be able to look up faith and see what the opposite is and see what's really going on with you in that opposition. However, to really interpret the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards, you absolutely have to really get the fable and understand what the fable means, because that's what this deck is based on. So while we put the deck together with the little booklet so you can kind of do the basic reading, the idea is that in order for you really to get the reversals and to be able to read the cards, and that's something, you know, when I train people to read professionally at that level, I'm really training them to read through who they are. And so you sitting in front of me is going to have a very different interpretation than someone else. So if you really think about it, those three cards, right side up or reversed, basically mean the same thing. It's what aspect of that card applies to you. And that's where, when you read professionally or when you're reading at that level, that's where the nuance comes in. So you can get a basic good reading, and a lot of people do. But if you really want to see how to read this deck reversed, I suggest the fables. Now, one of the things that I plan on doing this year is I am going to do a weekly live feed on the toolkit, so you will get to learn the fables this year. And that's something I'm going to do, and I think they'll put commercials in it or something. I forget how they do it, but that it'll be, I guess that's how they monetize it on YouTube. But the idea is that I think if you really know the fables, and even people who really do know the fables, and I have some people that are so good at reading this deck, even those people admit that every time they reread a fable, they learn something new. So I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope that some of these tips and inside information on what the real skinny on reversals are with the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards helped you. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. I gotta figure out how to turn